Morning scripture is from Psalm 96 from the New Revised Standard Version. Oh, sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord, all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bless God's holy name. Tell of God's salvation from day to day. Declare God's glory among the nations, God's marvelous works among all the peoples. For great is the Lord and greatly to be praised, one to be revered above all gods. For all the gods of the peoples are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Honor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are in God's sanctuary. Ascribe to the Lord, O families of the peoples. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due of that name. Bring an offering and come into God's courts. Worship the Lord in holy splendor. Tremble before God, all the earth. Say among the nations, the Lord is king. The world is firmly established. It shall never be moved. God will judge the peoples with equity. Let the heavens be glad and let the earth rejoice. Let the sea roar and all that fills it. Let the field exult and everything in it. Then shall all the trees of the forest sing for joy before the Lord. For the Lord is coming to judge the earth. God will judge the world with righteousness and the peoples with truth. May the Lord bless the reading of his word.
Thank you, choir. Awesome as always. It's my distinct honor and privilege to reintroduce and welcome back to this pulpit the Reverend Barbara Blaisdell, my life's companion in love, in parenting, in ministry, and in so many ways. And I am deeply, deeply honored that she offered the gift of preaching on this Sunday in what has been a pretty emotional week in the Blaisdell household. And besides, she's the best preacher I know. So welcome her back, Barbara.
Thank you, Chuck. You know by now what I have known for more than 30 years, that your pastor is a gentle giant of a man, and that size does not simply include his physical stature. He has a heart and a soul and a mind that are every bit as tall and grand as his outward appearance. He is the love of my life, and I thank you. Thank you to your leadership and your personnel committee for letting him come see me so often so that we can both pursue our passion for ministry and enjoy our passion for each other. I am grateful to you. Thank you. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but a few weeks ago, the leaves on certain trees started changing colors. At least where I live. Did this happen here too? In Washington state, billions of green leaves went all golden and yellow and orange and red and plum and flaming crimson. And what I remember so fondly about fall in Colorado is the way the aspen turns such a glorious yellow. And suddenly you hear that gorgeous music that the wind and aspen leaves make, with the sound joining shimmer as those bright yellow leaves flutter and glimmer and crinkle and almost clap, don't they? There are no aspens in the Puget Sound, but the street where our home is, they're lined with ornamental pear trees. And as you may know, ornamental pear leaves turn bright orange and crimson in the fall. And the Puget Sound is so far north that the sun this time of year arrives rather late in the morning, almost at 8 a.m., and it leaves rather early, by 4:30 p.m. And it does so rather quickly at a very deep slant, and that means that the changing of the light is rather dramatic. I love watching the light change. Do you? And so I sit in my living room on the days that I can, in the morning or the late afternoon, as the sun rises and falls through those glorious crimson leaves. And you can almost watch the angle of the light change as the sunlight falls or rises, as if to highlight the color of each and every leaf from a different perspective by the divine artist herself. The sunlight highlighting the changing color of each and every leaf on each and every tree. Now, I know that this is a predictable phenomenon. Every year, all across the Northern Hemisphere, at some point between September and November, the leaves on deciduous trees will turn colors. And yet, somehow, every year when it gets here, that palette of colors is so gloriously beautiful that I realize I haven't quite held it fully accurately in memory, and it amazes me all over again. Now, I don't think I'm alone. For when autumn comes each year, I don't see anyone with a soul shrugging and saying, well, here it is again. No, every year it's just an amazement, isn't it? And this raises two sets of questions for me, and the first set of questions are these. Did the world have to be this beautiful? I mean, wouldn't it be safer if all have been done in gray and brown and beige? And do birds have to make that quality of music? I mean, couldn't they get by with some chirps and cawing and clucking and honking? Did it have to be such a glorious chorus of music each dawn and dusk? And why all these delicious flavors and fragrances and all these beautiful, glorious, and heartbreakingly flawed people to love? Robinson Jeffers puts it this way in his poem, The Excesses of God. Is it not by high superfluousness we know our God? For to equal a need is natural, animal, mineral, but to fling rainbows over the rain and beauty above the moon and secret rainbows on the domes of deep seashells and make the necessary embrace of breeding beauty also as fire. Not even the weeds multiply without blossom, nor the birds without music. There is great humaneness at the very heart of things, the extravagant kindness, the fountain humanity can understand and would flow likewise if power and desire were perchmates. Why? Why did God make the universe so gorgeous? And my second set of questions is, why are we so moved by that fact? A night filled with stars, and we are awestruck. A glorious sunset can leave us speechless. The ocean, the mountains, the giggles of children, seeing the faces of our own beloved overwhelms us with feeling. We are just two-legged little animals, and yet we listen to certain music, and it makes us weep. Does that make any rational sense to you? I suspect, pardon me, allergies. I suspect that an evolutionary psychologist would articulate the reasons for why we respond the way we do to the beautiful, connecting it in some way to this human species' urge to survive. And there may be a kernel of truth in that somewhere, but the way our hearts soar and break, sometimes in the same moment, over the truly beautiful, that seems to me to be about so much more than an urge for the species to survive. It seems to me to be about a deep intuition about the nature of the world and of life, and at the center of it all, the very ground of it all, is God. That God is beautiful, and that God in great love has made a beautiful universe, and that God has planted deep within us a capacity to respond, to be awestruck, and to give an answer. As the 96th Psalm has it, strength and beauty are God's sanctuary, are God's dwelling place. So worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Beauty is God's kindness to us. Beauty is God's calling to us. And on this Thanksgiving Sunday, we can be abundantly grateful. The strange thing is, we often are not. Oh, we are attracted by beauty. We want it in our lives, but too much beauty can make us anxious and afraid. Why would I say that? Well, because beauty does indeed move us deeply. And because beauty reminds us of just how small and insignificant we are, and the beauty of human love especially can remind us of how much we have to lose in this life, of how fragile life is, of how little we control of it. I think that's indeed why this world gets so dangerous. I think it's why people who feel powerless and vulnerable and are so angry about it are also so willing to destroy the beautiful in the name of their cause, including so much beautiful human life. It's also why we who know ourselves to be made in God's image, but who are not God, can be tempted on the one hand to numb ourselves with our addictions, or on the other hand to try to control what is not ours to control. So we eat or drink or smoke or shop too much, or we try to manage everyone around us, offering unsolicited advice or doing other people's work for them, or just generally meddling. And some of us are ambidextrous. We manage to do both well. The numbing activities of addiction in this hand and trying to play God on this one. God gives us another choice, however. In God's great grace, through Christ, God gives us another choice. For Christ is the one who shows us that God's love for the universe survives the cruelest of human attempts to kill that which is beautiful, even the attempt to kill love on a cross, any shape of cross. And that brings me back to the glorious leaves of fall and to snow-capped mountain majesties and to the breathtaking sweep of a night sky and to music that soars and makes us weep and sing. Because for us, in every form of real beauty, the living Christ shines through. And Christ is an invitation from God to take our place within the infinite beauty of the universe, to let it clothe us, to let it shine through us, and to sing forth from our living. What does that mean? Well, I don't think it means striving to be beautiful, since striving is generally not very pretty. And competing in beauty pageants is not the goal. Being beautiful isn't even the goal. God is the goal. To live in the company and the service of God over the years is to find that beauty overtakes us. It also isn't about being spectacular. I think most artists would tell us that the art is made in the steadiness of routine, of practice, of attending to the small things, of keeping to the daily discipline of practicing one's art, of doing what is yours to do over and over again, not mechanically, but with passion and devotion and faith. So when it comes to living and growing in the beauty of God, it can be in the most ordinary of things, so long as it is given with our most loving, passionate, and compassionate best. I knew a man once who was fiercely loyal to his country, loyal to his friends, his church, to his children, to his grandchildren, perhaps most of all to his wife, the love of his life. He could be demanding, too, of his country, of his church, and of the people he loved. But that also was out of loyalty because he passionately wanted the best for all that he loved, and he wanted to see the best brought out in them. One might say he was a master artist of loyal love. Which brings me to ask, of what has God asked you to be a master artist? What is that for you? A master artist in listening, a master artist in serving and loving the poor, a master artist in teaching, or in caring for and healing children, a master artist in music, in prayer, in hospitality, in the culinary or visual arts, a master artist in recovery. Most of us would never dream of calling ourselves artists, but we offer what we can with all that we can, and we offer it with heart and with faith and with a bit of passion and pizzazz too, if we can manage. And maybe with God's help, we become artists in some small way. The great Quaker theologian Elton Trueblood once offered a prayer thanking God for the unnecessary colors in the universe. Do you understand that to be a child of God is to be a living response to that great gratuity in the beauty of God, a response to the unnecessary colors? I'm not an artist, but I love crayons. And crayons come in all different size boxes. The basic box holds 8: black, blue, brown, green, orange, red, violet, and yellow. You can do a lot with a box of 8 crayons. But I recall the huge pleasure of giving my children the relatively gratuitous and extravagant box of 64 crayons. And I remember us opening the box together and smelling the smell and seeing them all standing there like ranks of a choir, their little pointy heads of color. And this box really does come from that long ago time because it still has the price tag on it of $2.99 from the Hook's Drug Store in Indianapolis, Indiana. But now, don't you know, crayons come as a choir in the round, a carousel in 152 colors, including all new colors I never heard of before, including illuminating emerald, which I must say has to be a Puget Sound color, and mango, tango, and bittersweet shimmer, which really comes close to the colors of those various leaves on those pear trees along the street where I live, and yellow amarillo, which is the color of Colorado aspens in the fall. Consider the beauty of the earth and the faces of those you most love. Consider the needs of the world all around you. Consider the beauty of God and your grateful response. Our artistic Mother, Father, God is offering us this day this carousel of 152 crayons. Wouldn't it be just perfect to spend your life living and creating with all the excessive colors from the giant, gratuitous carousel of God's great generosity? If you would respond with an amen, which is just the churchy way of saying yes, I invite you to stand as you are able and sing Let All Things Now Living. It's number 717 in your hymn.